Onstage, onstage cello time. Onstage, onstage cello time. Onstage, onstage cello time. Onstage, onstage cello time.
Tonight, Tom and I are joined on the stage at the Phoenix Theater by the great Decent Criminal.
Yes.
This is a band with a very long history that has shape-shifted both its sound and its membership as the years have progressed. They hail from Santa Rosa, they have toured the U.S. many times, and they have a lot of momentum going into 2016. Tonight, we'll talk about who they are, where they've been, and where they're going. And later, they'll be playing some music. Hunter, Tristan, Alexander, Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. Happy to be here.
Thank you.
You had something
polite.
you wanted to share with us about your history with the Phoenix and Mr.
man.
Tom Gaffey. Just get it off your chest. You almost had to spill it before we started.
We all have a lot of history here at the Phoenix.
Let's talk.
Shoot. I was just going to tell Tom. The first time we were here, it's 98, I think.
And how old were you in
I
1998?
was 6 years old. And I was right up there on the balcony, and I watched Goldfinger play.
Now, brief story about Goldfinger. Tom and I put them on in 2008. And there was some back and forth with the police during
we
that
almost
that
went to
era.
jail over that.
And they would come in and they would try to find things that were wrong. So they came in during a Goldfinger set right about at the end of the show, and the front man was doing a little bit. I don't know if it was at every show or if he decided just to do it here. And the bit was that he would put a Twinkie between his
Oh, that was the drummer.
and then have the
Darren.
and then have
Darren.
the have a yeah. So you know the bit, and and then I think a fan would take it out with their mouth or
Yeah.
something. Are you familiar with this bit? Anyway, you remember this, right, Tom?
Oh, yeah.
And they were so incensed by this,
the police.
bec-
The Petaluma police
that
were
I don't know if
incensed.
they created
A mother
this or they
complained.
actually thought it was real. They thought that the guy had a some sort of thing. That's not what happened, but that's what they told people, and it's a sort of smear the Phoenix thing. Anyway, that's my last recollection of Goldfinger in the building.
It was really Goldfinger, I think, recreating a Frank Zappa bit.
Yeah.
I think Frank was the
Goldfinger
first
does
one to do
Zappa?
that. Yeah, Goldfinger did Zappa.
So you two were here together at that Goldfinger show in '98.
Yeah, and our dad took us here.
Because full disclosure, you are brothers.
We're
We
brothers.
are brothers.
What was
yeah.
your first concert?
The first one? Our dad took us to see
Ray Davies.
Ray Davies from the Kinks.
Oh, great
Yeah.
concert.
Yeah, it was killer.
You bet.
Yeah.
Good, you guys stayed awake for that one.
Oh, yeah.
We were
up.
there. Yeah.
We were up.
We were up for that, yeah.
No reason
So-
to fall asleep.
Ray Davies and his brother don't
Right.
get along very well.
True.
We're in a band together.
Uh-huh.
Are
Yes.
no longer.
Right.
Do you foresee that happening between you two?
No.
No.
I don't see
I love
that.
Hunter dearly.
You like each other.
We hang out all the time.
We're the best
We
of
probably
friends.
talk every day.
As brothers, you've probably gone head to head. You've probably fought.
No.
When you were younger.
No, I
when
would
you were
wonder about
younger.
that.
When you were younger.
No, well, actually, let's segue into this. So Hunter and I have, we've been really tight through everything we've gone through in life, and this is
Hold it up to the camera over there so
Oh.
they can see it.
this is a picture that
We're,
our,
for you audio listeners out there, this is the CD. He's holding up the CD right now.
I want to ask about that.
so this is a picture my dad took when we were living in Pengrove, just outside of Petaluma, and
Yeah.
so I think there was a flood at the time, and I don't know. So he took a picture of us up against the water.
It was
and-
in the morning. We had to go get slushies before we went.
yeah,
Yeah,
so-
yeah. And here's the thing. So it looks to me, I think it looks like possibly Hunter's hair is a little breezy. It might have been a windy day. You guys are wearing sweaters and jackets.
Right.
If you're listening to the audio version, pull up this picture. Tom is.
It's a great picture.
Tom's
It's
going into it.
two great kids. They're
Yeah.
standing in front of some water on what looks like it's kind of a chilly day.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot help but notice that Tristan is not. You guys are holding Slurpees, it looks like, or
Right.
slushies.
Uh-huh.
And I
7-Eleven.
cannot help but notice that Tristan is got his hands inside the sleeves of his sweater because I would think that that slushie is cold.
Right.
My question is, what in the hell are you drinking a slushie for on a cold day? I mean, it's
Well-
just so obvious that this was one of those little kid problems that parents should be teaching their kids. This is not what you do on a
It was
cold day.
it was after a recent
Pick's the best.
It was after a recent divorce, and I think at the time we were just really into getting slushies.
Yeah. I think
And, man,
slushies are like alcohol for
boys' day
children.
out.
Right. So
You know what I mean?
I like to think that I was in the middle of a brain freeze.
Yeah.
And then
You were
yeah.
just trying to ease the pain
think you
however
were.
you could.
Look, and I'm going to break right into it. You guys have a tune that this particular album of yours feels like it's so full of so much angst, and I keep getting drawn to the one tune, "Sunburn."
Okay.
And who writes the lyrics?
I wrote that one. Yeah.
Wrote the lyrics.
Yeah.
This was a heavy statement.
Yeah.
And this is
it
exactly
was,
what you guys were talking about. It sounds like you're talking about the divorce of some parents and the splitting up of that relationship.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, we can. Yeah, it's gonna get serious.
Yeah, well, it is. But here's the deal. So you guys write this cool stuff. You got some lines in here that I love, for crying out loud. In Sunburn, the whole story is you guys put it right out there. So you're writing this song, and if anybody is paying attention to the lyrics, they're going, "Wow." This is
Give us some
extremely
examples
honest.
too that really stuck out to you in listening to it.
One of them that was pretty good was "You raised two little boys
Yes.
that love a world so gone."
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
you know you're talking to your dad because you call him man.
Uh-huh.
And this is. Have you played this song for your dad?
No, I mean, my dad likes the album a lot.
He
but,
probably does. Has he?
but
Has he?
I'm not sure he's read the lyrics, but
This is a very breezy
yeah,
tune. If you listen to what you guys are playing, you're playing. It's almost no FXy in a lot of places.
Okay.
And it's dancey and it's happy and it's breezy. Then you start getting into the lyrics and you guys go really deep with this.
yeah. I think there's a couple times the song "Abandon" and "Sunburn." I'm
Abandon, absolutely.
just kind of digging into, I guess, sort of.
It's tough to get into this stuff, but you're getting down to the meat and some of those moments that make you guys
I guess
who
what
you are.
I was trying to.
And
I
how
guess
you
I was-
develop your relationship.
I guess I was trying to channel, "Abandon," definitely channeling like myself at like 14, and then in "Sunburn," we're talking about this park we all grew up at. We were all sort of there for each other as friends, which especially played a part, in the divorce where you're with your parents, this time, and then you have this time with your parents, So we kind of grew up, I feel, in a lot of ways with our friends, and then the other part of the song, the part of the song you're talking about, it's more like I'm channeling this emotion that I felt as a kid. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's almost, and the same with Abandon, you guys, it's like you're speaking an unspoken truth. These realizations are coming to you through the course of everyday life.
Right.
And these are the things that most kids go through sometime in their life, and it just comes up on you. And these are the things your parents had never told you that you discover on your own. And
Right.
this tune, it just cuts right to the quick on that. It's it's a beautiful thing when you get right down to it. And I've heard it a couple times. I've heard it several times, and it's just, wow.
There's just certain things you feel as a kid because your world, things just impact you more because you're younger and your world's so small, and then. And then I feel like you get older and you kind of are able to look back at those things and get a different perspective.
Take
and,
a look at it.
we both, love our parents, and it's not like we have anything like against them.
No,
like
you
that.
don't get that's not the point of the tune. The point is
Right.
like this. There's a realization that you come to,
Right.
And it's a fascinating moment in the song itself.
Mm-hmm.
I love the tune.
As a listener, what did you think that realization was?
It was in the park. It was just you'd have to. I'd need to have the lyrics in front of me again.
Yeah.
But it's a really poignant tune, and quite frankly, down here over the years, I've seen this replayed. I don't know how it is in other countries, but I know that the divorce rate in the United States is quite high. So I see this drama being played all the time with kids in the building. And it's a tough time for those kids. They don't exactly know exactly what it is, and it takes a moment that you reached when you wrote this song, when you finally get to look back and have some catharsis behind it. And it comes back in strange. You have the line, "I know you because I know myself. I know what you're doing there because I've seen it in myself," and that's feels like it's a theme in this almost its entire album. Reliving that day and finally seeing truths in life. I mean, this is the way we live in this country.
Right.
And it replays
Yeah.
itself every day, and that's just the way it is, and you can't change that.
Right.
When it's time for that to happen, it's time for that to happen. And you need to be able to let it go eventually. Tough
Right.
on the kids.
Right.
But
Yeah,
at the
hard on
same
kids,
time,
sure.
you can't shield them from that. And this
Right.
is kind of that same thing. It seems like you're recognizing it. You're bringing it out for your father, but you're bringing it out for yourself at the same time.
Right.
A lot of this stuff sounds like you're writing to yourself.
Right.
It really
Cool.
does. And and
Nice.
it goes down well.
Cool.
You pulled it off, I think.
Nice. Yeah. I just feel like, you're given such a raw perspective at life, when you face something like that, especially as a child, you're sort of.
But you got to have it. You're going to live another 60 to 80 years, and
Right.
you might as well know what the world is about.
We sort of tie it. The back cover also relates to the front there. This is a photo by our friend Ryan Keller.
That's on the Petaluma River, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
How does it tie it together?
Oh,
said it ties it together.
I was just saying the front cover is Petaluma
Okay.
Yeah.
and the back cover is Petaluma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That shows water, by the way.
And it shows water.
Well,
Yeah,
and
true.
here's the thing. So Joseph Campbell, if you're ever into that, he was a sociologist and a mythologist, and water always symbolizes the uncertainty. You're going to have to step off of solid ground and swim into the water to get past where you are at this time. Sometimes you've got to jump into the uncertainty, and this is two kids right on the cusp of that. You guys are happy with your Slurpees. Even though Tristan's hands are cold, he's still happy about it. But as a matter of fact, eventually you guys are going to be jumping into that water and moving forward.
damn, Tom.
Any other lyrical things from the most recent album, because this did just come out last month,
Yeah.
that really stand out to any of you? You had a song, Vacant, which was also on a compilation, I think, for suicide prevention. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a very big album. There was like 60 songs on it. You guys were one of them.
Bracket was on it too.
Yeah.
They were.
Ooh, bracket.
There were a number of familiar bands
That's
on that
right.
compilation.
Yeah.
And am I correct to assume that that song deals with isolation or thoughts of suicide?
No, it's not suicide. It has to do with more isolation in a relationship where you're sort of, you've isolated yourself and you're not really even a part of it, but yet you're still, like, the title's still there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's a few songs on there. It's sort of just love on the rocks type of thing, but yeah.
Isn't that a funny human dynamic where it's like you're in a bad relationship, but no one wants to be alone, so they stay in the bad relationship?
Well, it's gotten better. It's not still bad.
I'm not saying that's
Right.
that's fast. Oh, so
It's great.
So you've been able to recover the relationship.
I feel like in a
influences
loving
song.
relationship, there is just ups and downs, and some of these you just capture. I might have captured a few downs on this album. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
But fascinating that the relationship still lives.
It makes for great material anyway.
it does.
That's great.
Death, the tune Death.
Mm-hmm.
The habits feet are mine.
About a year and a half ago, I quit drinking after just, from the time I was 14, 15, I was just, basically we just, drank all the time. Any occasion, we just were drinking all the time. And I just reached a point where I was tired of what I was doing, who I'd kind of become in a way. So, death is more death of, like, those bad habits, death of, like, everything I was kind of doing that I was unhappy with. Yeah.
Did you write this pretty much all at the same time, or has this been written over a period of time? Album-wise, all of the songs.
Yeah, I wrote. I think the only song that is sort of out of the way is the last song called Riverside.
Which feels like that's one of my favorites.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it feels like one of my favorite NoFX tunes, and I've been trying to pull the tune out of my head. It's about finding enough quarters to buy a 40.
Oh,
and it's
is
right
that
there in
Nico?
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hill, something.
is that
Yeah, it's the last song on Punk and Drug Book.
Yeah.
a scavenger?
Yeah,
type.
that's the one.
Scavenger
type.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get that same feeling listening to Riverside. I like it a lot.
Cool,
I like this
yeah.
album a lot.
Cool, Tom. I'm glad you
Yeah.
gave it a good listen, man.
I did.
I really appreciate
Yeah, I like it a lot.
It's cool.
You guys,
But yeah, no, I wrote a majority of the songs and a lot of the lyrics within the same 2-year span, probably.
yeah.
And I mean, I'm not really one to, write lyrics that I'm not passionate about. I like to, I put a lot of myself and everything into what I'm doing as far as music goes, and it's a big vent for me. So yeah.
It pays off in this album. If you guys pick it up, listen to the words. It's very danceable, and it's very. I think it's almost mid-90s punk. Feels like to me an awful lot. Although you guys came to this in the 2000s, but living it down here, it used to be a weekly thing, and that was my favorite period down here.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have it right down to Alex.
When I first met you, Tom, you had a Dookie shirt on.
Right.
So good.
Yeah, I love that shirt. Yeah, I wore it
Nice.
out.
As an aside, I have never really met Alex before, but you're just like fun to watch perform, and you're fun just to watch sit there. You're always
Thank you.
smiling.
Yeah.
Can we all just tell the viewers about what it's like to know Alex?
Oh,
what
dude.
kind of a guy
Oh
is this
my
guy?
I love
Oh
knowing
my
Alex.
God.
It's the best.
I mean, good and bad. Good and bad.
He's a treat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes he's like grumpy in the morning, but then he gets some vitamin B12, and he's great for the rest of the day.
Alex will bring a
love it.
pack of vitamins with us on the road.
Is that so?
And
It is.
just a Ziploc bag full of just random vitamins.
Are you a believer in making sure you have all the right supplements?
It feels good.
Yeah. Have you ever gone without the right supplements
Yeah, dude.
and then you feel do you feel the difference?
Yes.
You do feel the difference. Do you take vitamins, Tom Gaffey?
No.
Why not? Alex does.
Yeah, that would be a regimen.
You're not big on routine, regimen.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that'd be tough.
Responsibility,
You have to remember to
commitment,
do
yeah.
it every day.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, no. Do you do it at the same time every morning?
Nope.
No. All right, at least you got that going for you. No, I've got enough compulsions. I don't want to add anything like that to it. I try and destroy myself with my compulsions, and I don't want to.
You guys did a tour with the band Screamin' Mimes, which the tour was called "Fuck That, We're Playing for Chubbs."
Yeah. That's right.
What it,
You're goddamn right.
and it sounds like you stand. It sounds like you stand by that.
Do you have any problems getting paid on that one tour?
We actually came back.
We
now,
came back positive that
hold
trip.
hold on. Tom, what's a chub?
A chub? No.
Tom's not going there with
I'm not
that.
talking about boners. We're talking about.
Oh no, we're talking about
Chubbs.
Chubbs Peterson, the golf legend from Happy Gilmore.
Oh, I see.
Playing for Chubb.
It was a tribute tour. See, it was a good bit then, and it's a good bit now.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
that's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Happy Gilmore?
I am familiar with the film.
Yeah. Well,
did.
And
he
then-
dies in the film, and
Fell
then
out a window.
yeah, and then Shooter McGavin and Happy Gilmore have a little struggle for a second. They talk about who's playing for Chubbs,
Okay.
and Adam Sandler declares that he's playing for Chubbs.
Is a
So-
chub? Is a chub also a penis?
I believe it's a half-mast boner.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
I said boner. Yeah, I said it.
No, it's a real word. It is what it is.
I was
Is it
kind
in
of
the
hoping we could
dictionary?
get through a show without using the word boner, but
Oh no.
Never
You have to use it. You have to use
Jeez.
it. Tom Gaffey,
Yeah.
Decent Criminal was on the show tonight.
yeah, they sure were.
In conclusion, what thoughts do you have about these guys?
This album of theirs, I like an awful lot. And what I find is the dichotomy here. You've got, you guys are doing kind of a pop punk sensibility in your writing, in your chops nowadays. But when you delve into the lyrics, this is some deep stuff. And it's just, you've got a duality there that is fascinating, really. You are coming from your youth with a lot of this, and hence I think the breeziness of the music. But you're looking at it from your adult life, and it's very deep, and it's just a great thing to look at. It's a great thing to listen to, and to see how well that actually matches.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We really
Thank you.
appreciate it. And in just a moment, Decent Criminal will be playing us a set of music. So look
Yeah, stick
forward
around
to
and
that.
listen to this.
Thank you for listening. And once again, thank you for joining us tonight, guys.
Thank you.